Hello again. Welcome to Verbling. Hi there. I'm Teacher Oakley, and today we are going to look at the TOEFL exam, in particular, reading section, and we're gonna practice and practice some questions, and well, that's what we're doing. So, hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hi there, I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing okay.
What time is it there?
It's noon, just afternoon.
So you're
It's
starving.
I very perceptive, Daniel. You're totally correct. Yes, I've had a number of classes in a row, and yes, you are correct. I am starving. I will be having lunch after the class. You are correct. It is rainy season now here, Daniel, so it is dark and cloudy and raining constantly. Yay!
I like that weather.
Yeah.
Do you like it? Yeah.
Do I like it? It is better than what precedes it, which is the summer season, which is unbearably hot with no wind, just blue sky sun all the time. So I actually prefer this because it's at least it's a lot cooler.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
I understand you. Yeah.
yeah. And I want to welcome Amp or Amp.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Amparo.
Amparo. Amparo?
Yeah,
Am I saying that correctly? Okay. Amparo, where are you from?
I'm from Ecuador.
Ecuador. Excellent. Okay. Uh, thanks for joining the class. Amparo, do you have plans to take the TOEFL exam in the future?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. Well, all right. Anyway, that's fine. You can actually see what it kind of, well, what it looks like, and let me torture you a little by,
No, torture
no.
yourself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, to be perfectly honest, the TOEFL reading test is it really truly is a little bit like torture.
Yes, I can guess that.
To be brutally honest with you. Okay. Um, for those who may be interested, let me do a little screen share here. This is basically what you're looking at. All right. The TOEFL test is a computerized test. You're going to be looking at a screen. This is just a picture of what the screen looks like. Okay. Very simple. A couple of things you should know. Um, they're going to let you you operate the screen. So you have a next button. You have a back button. You can go backwards in the reading test. You have a help button. Which is really not much help. You should know what's going on before you ever take the test. Most important button here. You have a button that will show you. It will show you exactly. You can press this button here, and you will see the questions you have not answered. So if you skip answers, you can go back and do them later. It will actually list. It will actually have a list of the questions you've answered, little green lights or something, and then questions you haven't. So you click on that, and you can go back to that particular question. So you don't have to search around. So that's very important. Will save you a lot of time. Time is the key. Usually you're going to have 3 reading passages, approximately around 40 questions. Sometimes it can be a little different. So you're fighting the clock here in reality. Anyway, this is basically what it looks like. You're going to be able to, first of all, they'll give you the opportunity to read the whole reading passage, which you may or may not actually opt to do because It takes a lot of time to read the reading passage, and in reality, okay, that is a reading passage there. Okay, two and a half pages. Okay, but when you get to the questions will also have the reading passage here that you can refer to. So it's not entirely necessary to spend your time reading the whole thing first. So it depends on your own strategy. If you want to, you can use really 3 different strategies. You can actually read it, which is going to take you a lot of time. You can skim it, go through it quickly, basically to get the main ideas of what they're talking about, which is probably the most popular strategy, or you can go directly to the questions. So today, we're going to try the third strategy. We're going to go directly to the questions and then look around and see if we can figure out the answers. So you'll click next, and each new page that comes up on the computer screen, again, computerized test, will be a new question. Okay. First question. Yay. The questions that we really hate. An inference question. Okay. First of all, when doing an inference question, the information that you are inferring is going to be very, very directly related. In other words, the interpretation or the inference is not a big reach. It's going to be very close and very obvious from what you read. All right, let's look at the question. Here's the strategy. It can be inferred from paragraph 1 of the passage that the peoples of Europe and North America associated trees with blah, 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 blah. All right, now, I guess for this first one we can zip back up to here and look at the first paragraph. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right. So the question was, keeping the question in mind. What was the question? I already forgot. Oh my God. I'm hungry. It can be inferred that the peoples of Europe and North America associated trees with. All right. So they associated trees with what? Okay. In this case, it may be important to read the whole paragraph. All right, so I'm going to do that. In the Golden Bough, his classic catalog of mythologies, Sir James Frazer extensively documents the significance of trees in world religion. His chapters on tree spirits roam from northern Europe to the eastern seaboard of what is now the United States to the islands of the Pacific. Despite the lack of contact among these regions, the veneration of trees united them. The woods that covered large areas of Europe and North America in particular were difficult to penetrate and dangerous to cross. It was not a great mental leap for people to see the trees that populated them as embodiments of the natural forces that govern their lives. Alrighty. Okay. Let's take a look at the answers. Daniel, what do you think? They associated trees with travel?
No.
Places?
No.
Okay. The religions of older tribes?
No.
No. Dangerous forces of nature?
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Okay. Actually, what Daniel's doing is exactly the strategy you use. We go through each answer, and you use process of elimination to get rid of the answers that absolutely, okay, he doesn't think A or B. C is a maybe. This is exactly what you would normally do in the test. Okay, seems realistic. All right, how about D?
Maybe.
Associated trees with the common culture of humanity.
Or maybe no. I don't know.
Maybe no. Okay. Quick welcome to David. Hello, David. Just wanted to say
Hello,
hello.
teacher.
Hello. Welcome to the class.
Thanks.
Okay. Ampara, what do you think? After reading or listening to me read the first paragraph, okay, it can be inferred that the peoples of Europe and North America, they associated trees with. Are you there, Emperor?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Would you also eliminate A?
Yes, I was thinking in letter B because they talk about veneration of trees, and they join the tribes.
Okay. Okay. Let's look at it one more time. First of all, we should be talking strategy. All right. First of all, first strategy. I'm going to look at the question. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify. This is the overall strategy. Simplify this information to its most essential bits, nouns and verbs, in other words. Okay. It can be inferred, blah, 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 from the paragraph of the passage. I can eliminate prepositional phrases. It can be inferred that the peoples of North America and Europe, okay, I can eliminate that prepositional phrase. It can be inferred that the people associated trees with. Simplify it. All right? You're going to do the same thing looking at the paragraph. Okay, they take half of the paragraph, just basically introduces the topic. Just get rid of it. All right? Cutting away excess. All right? You're basically dissecting things down to the most essential information. Okay, the veneration of the trees united them, united the people. That has, okay, so they associated trees with, remember, that's the important part. Does that mean they associated the trees with uniting them? Not really, no. All right, reading on. The woods that covered large areas. The woods. All right. Okay. Here, that covered. Blah 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 blah. This is all. This is all a relative clause. Extra information. Adjective. Like a long adjective phrase. I don't need it. The woods were difficult to penetrate and dangerous. Okay. Here is a big clue. It was not a great mental leap. Well, a mental leap is an inference. Okay. To see the trees. They associated the trees. They saw, you see the trees as. Okay, now we're getting closer to the information we need. All right. Thinking about, again, simplifying the information and then looking for synonymous phrases or words. All right. So it wasn't a great mental leap, inference, for people to associate or see the trees as embodiments of the natural forces. Okay. Embodiments, representations of natural forces. All right, now that we've really analyzed it, looking at the answers again, now what do you think?
C.
C. David, dangerous forces of nature. Does that sound good to you? Now that we've really analyzed it. David, yes or no? Or do you think another answer is better?
I think C2,
All right. Are
maybe
you
B, I don't know.
are you with us, Ampara?
Yeah.
You're with us? Okay, yes. You're looking for synonymous phrases, basically that's slightly different. Again, you're doing an inference, what can be deduced? But again, in TOEFL, the inference is like a microcosm away from what it already says. It is not a huge leap of logic. It is a tiny, tiny baby step of logic. So it's basically really close to what it already says. Okay, and C was definitely the answer. Okay, here is another type of question. The word penetrate in the passage is closest in meaning to, okay, again, penetrate means, that's it. Really simplify the question. And here is a strategy which I would suggest. First, number one, don't even look at the possible answers. Instead, turn your gaze over to the actual word. Here it is. It's going to be highlighted. It's not difficult to find. Won't take you only but a millisecond. All right. Then you're going to read the sentence and see if you can substitute a word that actually makes sense. All right. Maybe you can do it. Again, you're all about saving time. So first, read the sentence it's in, see if you can figure out a word that you can easily, a synonym you can easily substitute. If you can't, then back up a little, read the sentence before. If you still can't, read the sentence after. Maybe that will give you another clue. All right? So step by step, you're wasting more and more time as you go, so the quicker you can do it, the better. So let's try it. David, can you read the sentence starting with the woods?
The woods that cover large areas of Europe and North America, in particular, were difficult to penetrate and dangerous to cross.
Okay. And instead of penetrate, what could you say? It could be
Enter.
one word. It actually could be two words or more.
Enter.
Okay. Enter. We're difficult to enter and dangerous to cross. Okay. Fair enough. All right. We have a possibility. The word penetrate. Oh, look at that. David has an exact match. Now, if this happens in the test, then you're going Yahoo, Yahoo, yippee for me. Because you are 99% sure you have the right answer, and that has taken you only a few seconds. Great. You've saved yourself an immense amount of time because you're going to have roughly a minute or a minute and a half for each question. So if you can do the question in 5 seconds, hooray, you've just given yourself more time in other questions. Ideally, that will happen. Now, that won't always happen. All right. You use my strategy. You don't come up with the actual word enter. Your next strategy is going to be to substitute the possible answers into the sentence and read them to yourself and see which one makes the most sense. Again, using process of elimination to eliminate the answers that totally don't make any sense at all. Okay, consider. Were difficult to consider and dangerous to cross. That's totally stupid, so you can eliminate it. Were difficult to locate. Well, obviously,
No.
It's a forest. How hard is it to locate? Close your eyes and walk. So obviously that doesn't make sense. We're difficult to survive and dangerous to cross. That does make sense within the frame of the context. However, difficult to survive and dangerous to cross is a little bit repetitive. It just repeats itself. Difficult to survive and dangerous mean the same thing. So, okay, you might be able to eliminate those three answers and still come up with the word enter. There you go. It's all about saving time. So using this strategy, you're doing the quickest first, and then the more time-consuming method after if you still can't come up with the answer. All right, that's basically your basic vocabulary question. All right. You click the page and you get this. Okay, the author mentions the Druids in paragraph 2 as an example of people that, again, getting rid of any extraneous, simplifying the question itself. Druids are an example of people that, okay, Druids are an example of what? Again, we can go directly to paragraph 2. Hello, Claudio.
Oh, hi, Oakley. How are you?
Oh, hi. I'm hungry.
Oh, I'm thirsty.
You're thirsty? Okay. Well, we've all got our crosses to bear. Okay. All right. So remembering our simplified question, Druids are examples of what? Of people that what? All right. Here's the paragraph 2. If you guys can see this. All right. I'm sick of talking. Let's have somebody else read this. Claudio, you just got here. From On the Basis.
Okay.
Can you skim down, or actually, you know what? You want to save time, so you know what? It's a long paragraph. If it's a short paragraph, I'd say just read the whole thing. But first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look for the keyword, which would be, Claudio.
I don't know.
Oh, you missed that part. Okay. I would say it's Druids. So here it is. Here's Druids down here.
Druids. Okay. Druids
Okay.
is a kind of animal. Not exactly animal.
Animal? Not exactly. No.
It's a kind of human.
Yeah, they are.
Human.
Yes, the tribe of humans. All right, so I find the keyword Druids. I'm trying to save time. So instead, let's read the sentence that Druids shows up in. See if that gives us a clue. So, all right, Claudio, can you read from here? It is known.
Okay. It is known that both the Celtic and the German tribes that inhabited ancient northern Europe regarded certain trees as sacred, setting them apart by species, as the Druids worshipped oaks, or by location, the way certain natural groves were regarded as natural temples or sacred spaces in what is now Germany.
Okay, so the relevant part about Druids used as a very brief example. All right, again, simplify it. Druids worshipped oaks. They are an example of what, Claudio, in this sentence?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Ugly.
It's okay. We're okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, you missed part of the question. Okay, let me. Ampara, I'll give you a try. I'll give it a try here. The idea, we're trying to find Druids are examples of people that what? Well, specifically they worshipped oaks, but Why is the author using that as an example? An example of what? Ampara, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that an example of?
What did Ruth that did?
Yeah, well, they worshipped oaks, and that is an example of
Their activities?
their activities. Well, okay, kind of.
Okay,
Yes.
just a question. Are you asking about the what they are done, what they are made? That's it?
Not exactly. The question that we're trying to answer in TOEFL is this. The author mentions the Druids as an example of people that do something. So they are an example here of people that do something. People that do what? Well,
Um,
really two things. Okay, it's in parentheses. When we use parentheses in English, often we use parentheses to give an example of something we have just stated.
Mm-hmm.
So in other
yes,
words,
but the druids in this example is made by like of woods. That's it that I've understood. At least I understood. That's it. That they were made by woods.
Druids are made of wood. Druids are people.
Yeah,
They're
but Druid
tribes of people.
consider oath like sacred trees.
Yeah, they worshipped oaks. Oaks are types of trees. Like my name, Oakley, comes from oaks. Actually, my name is really ancient Druidic, strangely enough. Believe it or not. It's true.
I don't know what means worshipped.
Ah, well,
Worship.
there's your problem. Worship means to, you are God, Claudio. I want to bow before you and worship you. You are the greatest being that ever lived. There, I am worshiping you. Okay, right?
Mm,
Like
I'm not
people,
sure what it means.
well, people worship God, or people worship Allah, or
Like
people
believe a lot. Like put a
eh,
faith.
and put their faith in and make sacrifices to and pray to. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
All right. A church is also known as a house of worship. Okay, you're
Worship.
praying to them. So, going back to the original question, the Druids are used as an example of, well, all right, tribes that regarded trees as sacred, setting them apart by species. Basically, that's the answer. All right, that's it, right there. It's right there. Um, okay, I guess you have to understand when we use parentheses, we often they're used for different reasons, but often as an example of something that they just said. So there's the answer. So now we go back to our original question. The author mentions the Druids, paragraph 2, as an example of people that, all right, again, now we're going to use process of elimination. All right. So Ampara
Yeah.
exhibited 3 stages of tree worship.
No.
No. Punish people for stealing fruit.
No.
No, that's crazy. Worshipped a particular species of tree.
Yes.
Exactly as it says in the passage. Cut down many trees. Now notice I'm not going to stop. I'm 99% sure C is correct because that's basically exactly what came out of the reading. But I'm still going to check D, all right, just to be sure because sometimes they're very, very tricky. Cut down many trees? No, it's not even close. All right. Thus, I am 100% sure I have the right answer, C, and I can move on. All right. So notice how we used the keyword because we had a long paragraph. I just went directly to where it said Druids here. And I just looked at the information immediately surrounding it. That was enough for me to answer the question. Okay, again, it's all about saving time. Most people who take the TOEFL reading exam do not finish it. All right? Seriously, probably 75% of the people do not finish it, which means they don't have much of a chance to get a great score. So that is the key, to hustle and to know how to most quickly figure out the answers. All right, Daniel?
Yep.
Here we go. Severely. So, boom, we're going to go directly to the passage and find severely. Hang on. I don't feel like scrolling back and forth, so I have it on a different... Where is severely? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So go ahead and read the sentence again. First, we're going to read this direct sentence it's in.
Till fruit.
Till fruit, yeah.
Okay, in some places one could be punished severely for injuring the bark of a tree or stealing its fruit.
Okay. Can you think of a word that you could substitute as a synonym?
Yeah, maybe harshly.
You know, that's the first one that comes to my mind. Another point to remember here when looking for vocabulary words, it's first thing you should notice is what kind of word is it? Is it a noun, a verb, adverb, or an adjective? So severely, an adverb. Daniel gave me another adverb as a possible synonym. And lo and behold, harshly is right on the list. So my technique here is to not look at the answers. I will even cover the answers with my hand, because if I can deduce the correct answer in my own brain before I see the possibilities, I am going to be extremely confident about that answer. All right. Okay. Very good. Good job. All right. Saving time, moving along. Great. Okay, next we come up to a not question. This is one of the more time-consuming types of questions in the TOEFL exam. Woo! All right, these are very time-consuming. Which of the following is not mentioned as evidence that ancient peoples believed trees had individual spirits? All right, now the problem is I have to use kind of reverse process of elimination. In other words, I have to find the three things out of A, B, C, and D which are in the text. My correct answer does not exist in the text. That's the problem. Now, problem number two, the text is very long. Do I really want to search through the entire text for this information? No. The answer, no, I don't. It's going to take me forever. I don't want to spend 10 minutes on one question. That is totally a bad idea. Strategy-wise, it may behoove me, it may help me in the TOEFL test to skip this question for now and
what is
come
the
back.
time limit? The time limit for you, for example?
Well, I may just totally, frankly, I would just skip this question because, again, there's a button up here, review button, which will show me all of the questions in that section, in that reading section. So I may have 12 to 15 questions. It will show me 1, 2, 3 through 15, and there'll be a little green light next to the ones I've answered. And number 5, there would be no green light. So after I answer all the other questions, I know I have 3 sections. I know I have an hour, 20 minutes per section. Okay, I still have 3 minutes left, and the only question I have not answered is number 5. Now I know I have 3 minutes.
For example, if you have an easy one and a hard one, each one has a proper percentage of the test, or
well, you can't really look at it that way because they can be so varied, you know.
Yeah.
And it's up to the individual, so you can't really look at it that way. It is possible to use what's called a 2-pass method. Go through and do all the easy ones first, and go through and do the harder ones after. If you know, just by the nature of this type of question, this is going to be time consuming. I have to find instead of finding one thing, I have to find 3 things. So just logically. Plus, it doesn't tell me where to look. This isn't one of the questions that has highlighted word. It doesn't say in paragraph 1 or paragraph 2, so I know I'm going to have to search for it. So for 2 reasons, I know it's time consuming, definitely. But, okay, all that aside, that's strategizing. Let's say I do want to attack the question. All right, how am I going to do it? Okay, which of the following is not? All right, so what am I looking for? Well, get rid of this, which is mentioned as, all right, what am I looking for? Evidence that ancient peoples believed trees had individual spirits. All right, evidence, I think, is the key word. Evidence that people believe trees individual spirits. Evidence is part of the question. So what am I going to search for so I can find this information? David, any ideas? What keywords in the question will I look for? Because I have this whole long text.
Yeah.
What can I search for? What word or 2 words, maybe? Okay. Am I going to look for ancient or ancient peoples? Am I going to look for believe? Am I going to look... The whole article is about trees, so I'm going to have trees about 100 times. That's ridiculous to look for. Or individual or spirits or individual spirits. What is the most logical thing to search for?
Well, I think I will search for the words in the answers, like apologize.
Okay, you're going to search for each one of these. Okay,
bark.
You can do that, but that absolutely would require you're going to have to search for through the entire piece of writing. All right, so you're going to search 3 times through the entire piece of writing.
Yeah.
All right, that would work. That's fine. You go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I will get this question too.
You go ahead. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to find the area where it talks about this idea. Ancient peoples believed trees had individual spirits. So I'm going to go ahead and just look for maybe the collocation individual spirits. That's my strategy. And hopefully then I can search for those other things, as you mentioned, David, because hopefully they will be located nearby. All right. Usually, not always, sometimes they trick you, but usually in TOEFL, the last thing we look for was severely here. Usually, they put things kind of in order. So I'm gonna jump right to the last question that I answered and go down from there. And I'm gonna scan down, And I'm looking for individual spirit. Wait a minute. Okay, I see a tree's spirit and body are considered inseparable. Okay, maybe that's it. Wait, but I glanced down a little further, skimming. I see the spirit exists independently of the physical tree. All right, I have found the key information which is in the question. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. Society makes a leap. Now I read back a little bit. Second stage. This is really important. Oh, for the first time I've noticed something here. Second stage. Okay, that would indicate to me that the author is organizing this by stages. I'm going to make a mental note of that. That's going to be important later. I probably am going to need to know what these stages are. Well, it says the second stage begins when it begins to regard them as separate. What? I don't understand that. That is, oh, now they're going to explain. Great. The spirit exists independently of the physical tree. Okay, there we go. That is the second stage. This, again, I'm going to remember this and map where this paragraph is. Okay. Now I can look for the different elements, as David said, because now I know where to look. I don't have to look through the whole piece of writing. I can just look at the individual pieces. Okay, again, in the real test, the writing will be right next door on the same page, like, whoops, sorry, like this. Okay. All right, so now I've figured out where it is. It starts this paragraph here. All right, great. Now I can look for these different elements. They apologize to a tree before cutting it down. Okay. Okay, I see the word apologies. I know you guys probably can't see it. Let's see if I can make this big enough for you to see it. Okay. Okay. What does it say here? Before a tree was felled, woodcutters in many world cultures would offer it both apologies and thanks for the resources it is about to provide them. This was necessary to avoid insulting the tree and avoid bad fortune. Okay. All right. But really, what is our question here? Evidence that ancient peoples believed the trees had individual spirits. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Tree bark. All right. There's something right there about tree bark, too. Right above it, taboos were taken very seriously. In some places, you could be punished severely for injuring the bark of a tree or stealing its fruit. Okay, these are, what is they talking about? Taboos designed to avoid causing offense to trees. Okay. Had individual spirits. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm seeming to be getting pieces of evidence of something, which these are. Okay, but maybe the information I need is a little different from what I read. They had individual spirits. Maybe it's something above this. I'm starting to think, because usually evidence is presented after an introductory remark, and now I'm finding these things above what I found earlier. Okay, So I scan up a little bit, and I see it had a distinct identity, like in an individual person. Ah, fine, okay. I was slightly misled to begin with. At least it got me close, which is the idea, to get close to the information you're looking for so you can find it quickly. Well, all right, maybe it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it did accomplish my goal of finding the information quickly. Ah, okay. All right, so here is the statement that the real statement that trees were regarded as an animate being with spirit and body. It had a distinct identity. Okay. So, okay, then I can see apologies, injuring the bark. I've definitely got two of them. Now I'm looking for personal name, or the trees could express pain. So pain, personal name. It is possible. If you get really good at doing this, you can look for two things at once. Okay. Okay, pain. Insulting the tree. Okay. Injuries were said to cause suffering to trees, as they did to people. It is claimed that trees cry out in pain when struck or cut into. Aha. Okay. All right. They thought trees could express pain. All right. Now, I haven't seen anything about personal names. Have you guys?
No.
No. In fact, what I do see here, instead, I do see something. It had a distinct identity like an individual person, but it doesn't say it had a name.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so they try to mislead you. So, again, all right, the idea here, it takes time. Definitely does. It takes a lot of time to do this kind of exercise because you need to find three things, and you've got to figure out even how to find them by using keywords and figure it out. So, there you go. It took us a while, but we figured it out. Answer is D. Okay, moving on. I knew it. The second stage of tree worship. Okay. I have already found that. Thank heavens. If I see anything with numerical, anytime I see anything in any of these writings, whatever, TOEFL, IELTS, TOEIC, if I see something with an, excuse me, with an ordinal number, the second, the third, the first, when I see that, I know there's going to be relevant information immediately following this that's going to be important and probably have questions about it. It's a huge clue, okay? Which is why I jumped all over it earlier. All right, so here it is. The second stage of tree worship involves a distinction between, well, do you remember at all, Ampara? Can you remember it, or do we need to look again?
I need to look again.
Yeah, that would be normal, and actually, that's actually a wiser idea. Okay. Again, simplifying the question. Second stage involves a distinction. Do you know what a distinction is?
A difference.
A difference. Okay. Between. All right. So again, looking at the passage, I know right where to look. It's right down here. Oh, I thought it was right down here. Where is it?
Yes, it was there. You said the second stage. Fraser's second stage. When it begins to regard them as separate.
Okay, so when it, regard them as separate.
The spirit exists independently of the physical tree.
All right, so physical tree and the spirit are different. All right, is that it? Okay. All right, which one of these basically means that? Trees and ordinary trees. Well, obviously, no. How about this one? Spirit and the body of the tree. What do you think, Ampara?
Yes, yes, it could be.
It could be. All right.
Mhm.
We're going to, again, always continue to make sure it's not a trick answer. Trees with and without spirits. What do you think? Yep.
I think
Ampara?
more is B. B like it.
You think it's B. All right. Again, it is important to look at the other answers, and the other answers have nothing to do with what we just looked at. The passage. Remember this, in the TOEFL exam, the answer is always in the passage. It's never going to be something that some kind of crazy thing that you can come up with in the passage. Or it's not going to be information you already know. It's going to be, it's there. The answer is there. So in the passage it actually says the spirit and the physical tree. Well, okay, they
Very
use
independent.
the body of a tree, the physical tree. That means the same thing. They use synonymous phrases or words to
Yeah.
mislead you. But all right, it's there. And there it is. Okay, I tortured Daniel with 2 vocabulary already, so I'm going to give this one to David. The phrase bound to in the passage is closest in meaning to what? All right. Bound to, it's highlighted so we can find it. Can you read this? Or is it too small?
Yes, I can read.
Okay.
It's not bound to a single tree. It's not bound. It's not limited.
Limited to a single tree? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Oh, all right. All right. It's not limited to a single tree. And there again, we've found it. All right. Certainly can't be hidden within, regarded as venerated. Okay. Once again, now I should actually tell you in these vocabularies, sometimes they use a vocabulary word or phrase which will have 2 meanings, which will be 2 of the answers. Maybe one of them will be the totally opposite meaning. One of them will just be wrong. And 2 of them may be actual meanings for the word. It's not really the case here. But you have to be careful of that. If that is true and you know that there's another meaning there, you might want to double check that. Even if using this strategy, you come up with the correct answer. Okay. All right. Last one. The author of the passage uses the phrase ideas rather than things to indicate that. Okay, these are tough questions. You're trying to think, what is the author thinking? The reason he uses this particular phrase, why does he use this particular phrase? Again, I'm not really looking, maybe I'll look briefly. The forest was dangerous, people stopped fearing, okay. He's trying to indicate, show. He's trying to show, what is he trying to show? Okay, what is it? Ideas. What is he trying to show? Okay, it's after a hyphenated at the end of a sentence, so obviously I need to read the whole sentence. To think about a tree spirit identified with the forest as a whole, therefore people had to think about phenomena that were moved from them in time and space. Aha! Ideas rather than things. Okay. Abstracts, in other words. Okay, people had to think about All right. Notice what I'm doing? I'm basically rewording this in my mind. People had to think about abstract instead of physical, is basically what this is talking about. Okay. Is that enough to answer this question? Maybe not. The forest was what? Much less dangerous? I don't get that. People stopped fearing the forest at the second stage? What? Ah, wait a minute. Some aspects of the forest can be imagined but not seen. Aha. In other words, abstract, but not physical. All right. By rewording it in my own brain, when I see this answer, okay, abstract to me is an imaginary or a conceptual, an idea, and physical or concrete is seen. So for me, that's a very quick synonymous statement. Again, I check out D and see that that's nonsense. Thus, I answer C. Okay, I hope that going over this today, maybe tomorrow we'll do the same thing, but faster with a new reading passage. I hope that kind of taking extra time to detail my strategy and why I was doing that in a very careful manner. For those of you interested in taking the TOEFL test, I hope this helps you understand the logic of trying to do things as quickly and efficiently as possible. It's all about efficiency to get the job done as quickly as possible. You are fighting the clock. Okay, thank you very much, David, Daniel, Amparo. Appreciate you your participation. But now it's time for lunch. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Enjoy,
Thank you,
enjoy
teacher.
your lunch.